Hey guys, welcome back. It's Felicia. Are you guys wondering, with all these skincare products that we recommend, that you guys buy, that you guys use, why do we still get things like breakouts and acne and textured skin and bumpiness?
We're here to tell you that skin conditions like acne, dehydration, hyperpigmentation, rashes are all closely related to what's happening on the inside as well as on the outside. The buildup of toxins inside our body could be closely related to your lifestyle habits, what are you eating, how much you're sleeping, how stressed you are, and it can be fixed with a simple moisturizer.
So we're back with another 4 beauty rituals or beauty secrets that are designed for cleansing the body on the inside to help with clearing all our skin problems. So today, Mia and I are gonna try a bentonite clay drink, dry brushing, meditation, and doing a matcha mask every day for the week. And all of these are a really natural form of healing, so we're actually really curious to see whether or not it actually works like it's claimed to do. Let's jump into the first one. Bentonite clay drink. For all of you guys who are skincare enthusiasts, or maybe if you have oily, acne-prone skin, you probably would have heard of a bentonite clay mask because it's one of the most healing ingredients of the earth. Well, it is from the earth. And we actually just did a whole mask video about it, so make sure you watch that if you're curious. But today we're not going to be telling you guys how to put it on the skin. We're going to be trying it in a drink, which is kind of weird because I never in my life thought I would drink clay. So what you want to do is at night, before you go to bed, prepare this clay drink. So you can start with half to 1 teaspoon of food grade bentonite clay and 1 cup of distilled water. Then you want to shake it around vigorously, or if you want to stir it with a wooden or a ceramic spoon. You don't want to use metals, and then you want to leave this to rest overnight and then drink it right in the morning before you eat, before you drink anything else, because this is when it's going to be most effective. So it says when you drink bentonite clay, it attracts and binds to the toxins that are inside your body and flushes it out. Kind of like a magnet drawing the impurities throughout your system and then just like letting loose.
So it's the morning and here's my clay drink. So you can see all the water and the bentonite clay is actually separated. This is kind of like a more gentler way to start if you haven't tried clay. You could definitely just shake it up and drink the whole thing like it is, but as a more like ease into it type of thing, this is how they recommended you do it. We'll see how it goes. It's not bad. It just tastes like water, but it's a little bit chalky. And then you can kind of like taste the residue a little bit. Hold on, just finish it. I'm just leaving this heavily concentrated portion of it. And they said that extra cup of water will help with things like constipation and things like that. So make sure after you have your clay water, you follow it up with another glass.
Here's trying bentonite clay, yay! Actually, I'm not that excited at all. I'm freaking out because when I think about clay, I'm thinking about things you put on your face and it draws out the toxins and then you have to wash it off. I can taste it at the back of my throat that I feel like all this clay is just going to like sit there. Also, if you don't like the taste of clay, what you could do is just let it sit for a while so the clay kind of sinks to the bottom, and then you're just drinking like the clay water. Once you build up, you can maybe drink it like that, because right now I can't deal.
Okay, so just an update. I didn't have any caffeine. Normally caffeine makes me go to the toilet in the morning. 15 minutes after I had the food, I like went to the toilet. I don't know if it's just because it's in my head, but it might have smelled like clay.
Bentonite clay is also known as Montmorillonite clay, which stems from the region of France called Montmorillon. I'm sure the French have a different way of saying that. This clay actually comes from aged volcanic ash, and it's been used for thousands of years, apparently long before even recorded history. And humans have used the clay for traditional healing methods to cure illnesses and promote general health. Point is, it's been around for a while, we just never knew that we could really drink it.
I've left this one overnight so I can just drink the water.
As you can see, all of the bentonite clay has pretty much condensed to the bottom. Definitely tastes a lot better, like it's a lot less clayey. Cheers.
Good morning, guys. Another day, another clay drink. Let's down this baby. It's really not that hard to drink because it just tastes like water. I think the powder must be so fine. If you're gonna drink it separated with water and have the clay at the bottom, it gets very intense because it is pure sediments. But I think if you were to mix it all up so that the whole thing is kind of evenly like spread, then I think that actually might be easier. So there's just clay now at the bottom. So I'm not gonna drink any more of that. It gets a little bit hard towards the bottom, not gonna lie. I don't know what it is, but now I can definitely feel there's something in my stomach.
So when bentonite clay is mixed with a liquid, whether it's water or apple cider vinegar, it actually produces an electrical charge and bubbles and swells up like a 6th grade science experiment, you know, those volcanoes that you used to do. When it does this, it's actually producing a uniquely strong negative electrical charge, and this is what allows bentonite clay to magnetically attract all the positive charged toxins like bacteria, metals, parasites, and fungus that could be inside your body, but also on your skin if you use it as a mask. It can actually absorb around 40 times its weight in positively charged toxins. So your entire organ functioning benefits from the reduced toxin levels, and that's why it works so well.
Yep, and like clockwork, 45 minutes later, I went to the toilet again. So it's showing consistent signs of kind of flushing things out in the body. I like it. And I also didn't have coffee again, so it worked by itself.
Bentonite clay drink. Keep in mind, you have to drink a ton of water, otherwise you will feel a little bit constipated. I have noticed that my stool is a lot more consistent, and also it does like make all the other food that you eat more digestible, so I feel like it kind of goes through my system a lot quicker.
Here's the thing, bentonite clay can't actually be digested, so that's why it collects everything that it needs to throughout your system and then you excrete it, and that's how detoxification really happens. Because it has such a high concentration of minerals including silica, calcium, magnesium, sodium, iron, and potassium. And these minerals all help to absorb and remove toxins within the body, as well as heavy metals and impurities.
Matcha mask. Now matcha is known for its abundance of antioxidants. What that bright green pigment in matcha is a result of chlorophyll, which is responsible for protecting your skin from sun damage. It helps to reduce wrinkles, it fights acne, it evens out the skin complexion while simultaneously fighting off free radicals within the skin. It is amazing. Now to make this mask is very simple. You take 1 teaspoon of matcha powder and then you mix it with raw honey or add a little bit of water depending on what kind of consistency you like. You can either apply this with a brush or with your fingers or with a spoon. Wait for about 10 to 15 minutes and then you just wash it off with lukewarm water.
Here goes my matcha mask. I actually didn't add a ton of water because I kind of don't want it to be too runny. I kind of just want it to stick onto my face. So I've just put honey and matcha. I feel like this combination works for me the best, and I'm more used to like a stickier or a thicker type of mask. It actually smells amazing. Like I could totally eat this. It's like edible mask. Skin just feels really kind of tight and a little bit sticky because I think I put too much honey in that one. And that actually feels a lot hydrated, so I don't feel like I need to put moisturizer on my skin straight away. But we'll see how that goes as the week goes by.
So we have our green tea mask here, which I'm going to apply with a brush. And this is all clean. But first, I'm going to wash my face and make sure that all the makeup is off and everything is nice, so that when the mask goes on, it goes onto a very clean canvas. So let's wash my face. Yay! So face is now clean, and then you can see like my breakouts. So these are all like scars, but this one is one pimple that kind of came up today. Yay! You could totally just eat the remains of this. It's actually very soothing to apply masks with a brush. So I think with the green tea mask, you can either choose to make it like runnier and add more water in it, or you can make it a little bit thicker, which I did, with more powder and a little bit more honey, because I feel like it's just more potent. So that was the perfect amount So the green tea mask is on. Now I'm gonna leave this on for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes and then just wash it off.
What is the difference between matcha and green tea? The green tea leaf in the tea bags go through the process of being pan fried, and then it's left out in the sun to dry, and then we consume it by steeping the tea leaves into hot water. Whereas matcha, on the other hand, is actually dried in the whole leaf, and then it's then grinded into a powder. Therefore, when we do consume it, it hasn't been oxidized, and we consume the whole leaf with all its benefit attached. In fact, it has more antioxidants than the green leaf, about specifically 3 times more.
Another day, another mask. And the pimple from yesterday has ripened. Ooh, so this time I'm trying another method. Not the brush, but I'm just using the spoon that I used to mix it. And I feel like this is actually applying a lot better. But also I feel like the ratio of this is a little better. I don't really go by the actual recipe because it's kind of up to you to decide how much matcha, how much honey and water you like. But generally I kind of like it more muddy in consistency. But I think either way it kind of works the same because you're still getting the antioxidants from the matcha powder. Matcha cake on the face! And then leave for 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes and this time it's not black, but it's like very dark green and it didn't dry as easily as yesterday's. But I think because I put a little bit more matcha powder in today, it's actually much thicker and like richer looking. Let's wash it off. Alrighty! Same thing as yesterday. I just feel like the honey makes the skin so nourished. And it's just like so soft. I think more than anything, it just feels really comfortable on the skin. I really like it. Bing, bing, bing.
Why is matcha so unique? It's basically of a compound called EGCG, and it contributes to the antibacterial and antibiotic properties that helps to fight off acne-causing bacteria. It reduces inflammation. At the same time, it evens out your skin tone.
So this one is waterier than the other days. We'll see if there's difference. See, it's like much runnier. Oh, it dripped everywhere. Look at the mess. Let's see how long this takes to dry.
Besides the slightly green tinge that you get after the mask, your skin feels more plump, it feels more hydrated and definitely more moisturized. So it has been really good.
So I feel like whether you do it thick or thin consistency, basically it still feels the same, which is like very soft and very hydrated.
The traditional Japanese tea ceremony where the matcha ritual is actually stemmed from, at the root of it, means to be mindful and ichigo ichi-e, which means one time, one meeting. In terms of drinking tea, is to be mindful that every experience and every cup of matcha is definitely unique and cannot be reproduced and thus should be treasured. I feel like if preparing and sipping on matcha is a form for you to slow down and be more mindful, then it's going to give you a ton more benefits than just antioxidants.
So that leads us to meditation. So more and more, I think we're starting to see a more mindful and wellness approach to living a more holistic life. And that's why there's shows like Marie Kondo and Sparking Joy, to things like journaling or bullet journaling to kind of like concisely see and put down everything in an organized way. And the little life choices that we make from switching our thoughts to be long-term, positive and healthy, rather than focusing on short-term and dwelling on negativity. And more people are starting to get into things like meditation, which is why we thought this would be a really interesting one to put into our video today. And although it might not come off as something that's like directly related to this skin, we already know that things like stress, lack of sleep has everything to do with breakouts and acne, because when we're stressed or when we don't get enough sleep or when we're anxious, it'll start coming up in the form of breakouts. So the ways that we de-stress, like using yoga or meditation, these can actually be much more powerful in helping our breakouts than a moisturizer, because one is prevention from the inside and one is a cure after it's happened. All right, so here's the claim of meditation. It's a process of training your mind to focus and also be aware and redirect thoughts. You can also use it as a way to increase awareness of yourself, but also the surroundings. But on top of that, a lot of people use it as a way to reduce stress, controlling anxiety, promoting emotional health, enhances self-awareness, increases attention span and focus, and also improves quality of sleep. For those of you who haven't done anything like this before, what you want to do is sit down, close your eyes, and concentrate on slowing your breathing, slowing your thoughts, and slowing your mind down to a state where you're hyper aware of everything that's happening around you. And once you've established that, while your eyes are still closed, you want to focus on your body and what's actually happening and drown out any thoughts or feelings that you might be holding on to from the day or from life in general. And for a second, just let that go. Just imagine that those thoughts aren't you. And then just continue to do that for however long you like. You don't need anything for it, just you, yourself, and you.
Hey guys, so I just came back home from running errands and stuff, and I thought this would be a good time to do some of the meditation. I'm just gonna put on the music that I normally do it to. For the ones that I do, there's like a sitting, but there's also 5 different types of standing, and they're all just like really slow-paced movements. Typically, I like to do it for at least 30 minutes each time, because I feel like it takes time to get to this kind of peaceful state, because it's not something that you can get to straight away, which is important, I think, for those of you who haven't really done anything like this. It's not like you sit down and you're immediately supposed to just like get this peaceful kind of feeling. It takes time and it takes practice and repetition of kind of like doing it every day to get yourself trained into that thought. Well, that's especially for me, that's my experience. And then after, your legs kind of have pins and needles, but it's all good things. I just can't move for a while, so I kind of have to like stay here and let it pass.
So on the surface, it might just seem like you're sitting there with your eyes closed and you concentrate on breathing, but what's actually happening inside is a whole different story. It has everything to do with the brain, but specifically our central nervous system, which helps us control all our limbs, what we think about, what we do every day, and how we move the parts in order to do so. The brain is composed of 2 components, white matter and gray matter. The gray matter is mostly found on the brain's surface and makes up the cortex, and the white matter is deeper in the brain. Both of these control and allow our bodies to function normally like we do every day, like from waking up to eating to making decisions. So let's break it down a little more. The gray matter includes things like smell, sight, hearing, the 5 senses, as well as memory, speech, emotions, self-control, and decision-making. So according to not just one, but like a lot of different research, especially one from Harvard, we found that in the study of those who meditated and those who didn't, the density of gray matter actually expanded in the brain, and this showed increased improvements in things like learning, but also self-awareness, compassion, and introspection.
Okay, so that was it. 30 minutes. It's like really nothing. At the end of the day, you know, so many things happen. You have all these thoughts running through you, like things that you need to do, and it can all like get really overwhelming. But I find that just taking time out at the end of every day just to like meditate really helps me like refocus on the things that really matter, the things that I can change, dispose of the thoughts that are really unnecessary in life, because you know, we all have a lot of those, and it just helps me like to reset in a really like positive way. I can definitely say though, if I've skipped a few days of not doing it, I find that the thoughts and everything that I'm like holding within myself is much more intense. So it takes me much longer to get into that like state of tranquility if I haven't done it consecutively every day. But for the days that I do it very consecutively, it's just much quicker to get into like the zone. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the week.
So what then is white matter? White matter controls the speed at which we process information. So staring out into the world and then converting this into something it makes sense. Similar to a subway, the white matter mostly remains deeper underneath the surface with many links and passages, which connects and sends signals over to different areas of the brain so that you have one coherent thought. So when we become stressed or when we become anxious, the axons and fibers in the white matter actually start to harden, which leads to insufficient areas of communication in other areas of the brain. So let's say if you're stressed and your white matter is hardening and the communication is not as strong, this is why you'll tend to feel very muddle-headed, you don't know what's happening and you stress out and you're anxious. But when you meditate, according to the studies, this process actually reverses. The gray matter actually increases and the connections between the gray and white matter actually strengthen as well.
So when you're first meditating, it's super hard because everything is distracting you. You hear things, you think about things that you never normally do, everything hurts, your legs hurt. And then I feel like the second time around doing it, everything kind of isn't as bad. The third and fourth time, everything just gets a little bit easier. You kind of get into it a lot quicker. Your mind's more peaceful. And I think that's the most important thing, is to keep your mind nice and clear and just try to be as blank and not think about anything. Just be in the moment pretty much, and when you come out of it you just feel so refreshed. You feel like you can do a billion things and you just see things clearer. It just makes your day more productive as well. Sometimes if you want to do it at night time, which I have done for the past 3 days, it makes you sleep better. You tend to have less nightmares. I guess improves your sleep in general, so when you wake up in the morning you're not as tired, you're not as groggy, you just feel more awake and everything. So definitely try it.
Another thing that they found was that it also increased the release of like happy hormones. So meditation was found to boost the levels of things like serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins, which are all linked to feelings of when we're in a good mood. So with this one, I'm particularly interested in you guys if you've also tried any forms of meditating, even with things like yoga or Pilates, any sort of slow exercise that helps to de-stress. I think this is very beneficial for all our lifestyles, especially if you live in a very fast-paced city like New York. Hope you guys are still here. Let's move on to dry brushing.
A lot of you guys who followed us for a while has known the benefits of exfoliating our skin, our face particularly, basically removing dead skin cells, allowing the new plump skin underneath to shine through. And guess what? Dry brushing does exactly the same thing. It is a hot trend that we've been seeing that is cost-friendly, super easy, but also highly effective to not only detox the skin, also stimulate it and leave your skin nice and glowy.
So I went out and got a dry body brush. I'm assuming my arms or my legs would have the thicker skin. It's actually not as bad, kind of satisfying at the same time, because I do use this loofah like once in a while. That's super like crazy painful as well, and it feels really nice after a while. Like if you go past the pain, then it kind of feels good, and that's kind of what this feels like. I can already see the redness in my skin. Can you see how red it is already getting? So I can feel that this is actually working. So if you want to brush upwards towards your lymph nodes, helps to drain, detox, also good for the skin as well, I guess. And when you do your legs, you also need to brush towards up, because you want to bring everything towards and up. Same thing here. You can tell my skin's dry because you see those white marks when I'm brushing upwards. Oh my god, I can see dry skin flying everywhere. That is crazy, guys. This is insane. I'm actually loving this. This is like exfoliation and massage at the same time. You guys should definitely try and check out this brush. This is actually really good. I'm not sure if you can see the difference on my legs, but this looks brighter and whiter than this one, and I haven't even done this one yet. So you can see dead skin, feels good, and actually whiter.
Hey guys, so I'm about to shower, but I'm going to first do the dry brushing today. So this is the first day. Just bought this at the kind of like drugstore or pharmacy or whatever you want to call it. It was about $13. There was two different ones. There's like the one on the paddle brush with a long handle, and then there was this one. But then I just picked this one because I thought it would be kind of convenient to have around the like fingers and just like brush along. What you're supposed to do is before you get in the shower, you just run over all your limbs and brush it towards the heart, and so it like gets the blood flowing. It also helps to reduce cellulite. I don't know about that because personally I do have a lot of stretch marks and things like that, but it doesn't help with stretch marks, it helps with cellulite. So I'm just gonna run it through and tell you guys how it is.
So all you need is a high quality dry brush made with natural bristles. The bristles should be stiff to touch but not hard. You want to start start from the bottoms of your feet in a circular motion and then brush upwards to your legs in long strokes, and then slowly work up the body until you hit your abdomen, and then you'd use small circular motions and brush it towards the center. Repeat that same thing on your back, along your arms. Start with your fingers first and then work up your arm towards your heart. Now, the reason why we do this towards our heart is because we want to drain the toxins through your lymph nodes. We accumulate toxins from sleeping overnight or from foods that we've eaten, and by brushing towards the heart, you're basically following the natural flow of the lymphatic system where you're draining out metabolism, waste, and things like that. So by doing that, you're just improving your body's natural system, and it's just going to do wonders for you. Just to be mindful not to put too much pressure when brushing. We want it to be pinkish after brushing, but not to the point where it's bruising or you're bleeding. Another thing to be mindful for those who have super sensitive skin, maybe you want to steer away from dry brushing, or maybe you want to use the facial brush as a body brush.
Just finished showering, because you're supposed to do the dry brush before you shower, and actually some places said it was better to do in the morning because the motion of it stimulates energy or something. But anyway, I did it at night and didn't really feel anything except for the fact that it probably scraped the dead skin off my arms and legs and body. In terms of cellulite, as I said before, I don't know if that's going to really help me because I don't have cellulite, but it is a like mild exfoliation. And I think at the beginning the bristles were a little bit stiff and I like kind of put it too hard on the skin and then it turned like kind of red. I also read afterwards that it's better to do it softly and in longer strokes, so like from the tips till the end here to start off with, and then you kind of like build the resistance. You can do it a little bit firmer. It like gradually gets more comfortable. So we'll see at the end of the week if that is really the case.
Dry brushing has been a very popular morning routine for many ancient cultures for centuries, from Native America to ancient Greeks. Basically, they dry brush for a couple of minutes before bathing. Not only does it help to stimulate blood circulation, it removes the surface layer of dead skin cells, it's also known to tone and tighten the skin, reducing cellulite as well as detoxing the skin at the same time, and even helps with acne. So what are lymph nodes? Lymph nodes basically are bean-shaped nodes that live in certain areas of the body. You can find them under your arms, in your chest, behind your ears. They're basically a filtration process where toxins go through and then clean blood comes out. And when you're doing dry brushing, you help with that process. And the great thing about lymphatic system is that it not only helps to drain toxins, it kills cancerous cells, it helps to fight bacteria. It is your body's greatest immune system, and it works on so many levels, and that's why we're all about massaging the lymph nodes and draining toxins through them.
This brush is actually a little bit softer than the one I used to use. The other one I used to use was actually pretty hard. But anyways, these are actually slightly more softer, so it's not as painful. It's only painful in like the inner parts of the body, so like the tender parts, like the inner arms or the inner legs, also like your belly button, because those are areas of like skin that are really delicate and fine. But trust me, it definitely does work. First time, just redness. Second time, you get used to it. The third time, it actually starts to feel good. Fourth, fifth, and then you just be like, oh, dry brushing. Oh yeah, that's totally my thing.
That was dry brushing, and I highly recommend you guys also try this out because it just feels really good on the body. And even like the stomach area, the legs I especially liked, the arms, and you want to repeat every area for about like 5 to 10 times. Ding!
Alright guys, so that was the video. I hope you guys found this one as interesting as the first one, and let us know which ones you are curious about trying, or if you've already tried some of them and your experiences with it. We'd love to hear about it because this was our first like foray into things like dry brushing and things like that. I think this one was definitely a very holistic approach to beauty, which we hope you guys understand more and more has everything to do with, you know, our body, our brain, and our skin, because what comes out through our skin is definitely related to what's inside. So if you guys haven't caught up on all our previous episodes, there are a ton for you to catch up and watch. Our Skincare 101 series, which is basically telling you guys all the essential steps you need to build a simple skincare routine, what you need, what you don't. So make sure you check that out, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye!